Hi, this is Lamar, and you're listening to Getting to Third Space with Lamar and Tom. A third space is a term that refers to a safe space for people to come together for respectful dialogue in a spirit of listening, sharing, and learning. In this podcast, we explore what it means to have third space conversations, and we try to model them. If you like what you hear in this podcast, please be sure to subscribe, share it, and of course, like it. The more people join us, the quicker we get to third space as a society. Now let's get to third space today.
Hey, good morning, Lamar. How you doing?
Hey, Tom. I am doing well. How about you?
It's hot. It's 93 degrees outside right now, and it's still morning, and it's going up. We're right in the middle of that heat dome, and we got FIFA football players running all over the place in the area, and it's hot. It's hot, but I know it's been a little warm out that way too. So.
It has. Right now we're about 80 degrees, but it'll climb up there. We'll hit in the 90s today, and we have FIFA out here too. Lawrence, for example.
Yeah. I was reading about that.
Why can't I pull the name out? Anyway, we have football, European style football happening.
Yeah.
In Lawrence, Kansas.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't know if I know you didn't see this, but I will tell you about it.
Okay.
So the Norwegians are here for FIFA, but they also went to a golf tournament that was being played this last week, and the winner of the golf tournament was Victor Hovland, who is Norwegian.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you notice what the Norwegians do in the stadium, but they do this rowing thing, right? Like the Viking rowing. That's part of the... So at one point after he wins the tournament, you got all these Norwegians sitting around the green, and they're rowing, for Victor Hovland. He goes and jumps in the middle of them, and they all start rowing. It's kind of...
Okay, Algeria. I looked it up as we were chatting. Algeria.
Yes.
They're playing here in Lawrence.
Yeah, and the Scottish have been in Boston, and there's been a big problem. Did you hear about it?
No.
They literally, in reality, have drunk the bars dry.
Not that is any kind of an indication of anything.
No, but I did see this one Scottish man interviewed. And it was really funny because, you guys ran out of beer. I drink about 50 beers a day. I go, 50 beers?
That may have been an overstatement, but who knows?
Well, yeah, one never quite knows, right? So
that's right.
Holy cow. But yeah, I mean, it's been honestly at a time when it's hard to get excited about other celebrations going on.
Yeah.
Right?
This is cool.
This has been cool. And some of the football matches have been really great. And we of course, we've been following the Colombian team and we've been following other teams as well. But boy, I mean, there's been some upsets. I mean, like Paraguay beating Germany. Holy cow, And so that was just a couple of days ago. But yeah, it's been fun.
It's been a nice way for the country to kind of step out and talk about something different, to get excited and to just enjoy the international aspect, the diversity aspect. It's really cool.
It is neat.
Yeah.
It is neat. Well, so we're going to do something really different today.
Yes, we are.
We're going to have some fun and have really good conversation. But I want to give a heads up that if you are listening to this, we are going to be featuring a number of Lamar's photographs today. You won't be able to see them if you stay listening to this. So we want you to jump over to our YouTube channel, and you'll find a link to that in the show notes wherever you're listening to this, and just jump over there so that you can see the photos that we're going to be featuring and talking about. So
where can I know that you're going to put links in the show notes, but where could they start looking?
I'm really glad you asked that, because I have been racking my brain trying to remember. Okay, so On YouTube, if you just search for at Klaus House Productions, and that's KLAUSHUAUS Productions, that'll take you right to the YouTube there. Alternatively, from our Substack, if you go to our Substack at Klaus House, you'll find already embedded there a YouTube. And so you click there and it's going to take you directly to our YouTube site. But please do that because we've got some really wonderful pieces to show you, and Lamar's going to talk about that. And we're gonna have a lot of fun with this, and you'll want to see what we have to feature here. So,
Tom, additionally, if people would like to go to my website, anything I talk about is going to be on the featured front of the website, the featured page. So feel free to go to rothimages.com, and you can go there and see the photographs we're talking about. You won't be able to hear this, but you can see the photographs.
And if any really catch your eye,
yes,
you can buy them. I'll say that because I know Lamar doesn't want to do any self-promotion, but we have several of his works in our house, and they're just absolutely beautiful. And so
we might look at one of those today, actually.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sounds cool.
Cool.
But make sure that you check out the website, and if you want to follow along in this podcast and see the images as we talk about them, please go to YouTube. So Lamar.
Yes, sir. Let me get into the interviewee mode. Okay.
Give us that short story on how you got into photography.
Yeah.
And when did you start taking it this seriously?
All right. Well, I got into photography very young. Probably, I can remember back at the age of 12. If you remember the Scholastic book program in the school system. Yes.
Yeah.
So I ordered 2 sets of books. And I had them for years. I don't have them anymore. But one was about aviation and understanding the principles of flight, which later I became a pilot. That was very influential for me. And the other was about photography.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're talking, what, 60, in the 60s sometime.
Okay.
All right. So, and so that's kind of when I got interested. My mother and my grandmother were avid photographers. Brownie camera, the box cameras,
Yes.
And then later my mother into the Instamatic world, which was Instamatics. But so I was introduced to photography in a lot of different ways in my life. Wherever I would go, it seems like somebody always had a camera. We were always getting pictures done. And then I got really interested in the photographs themselves. What made it a good photograph? Why were some photographs turning brown after time? Why did they curl? How did, what would have made this a better photograph? So those are the things that kind of got me interested and hooked. What were the stories that my mom and my grandma were telling? And then I started using my mother's camera to take photos. And she was very supportive of that. It turns out I have a brother who kind of went down a similar road. His name is Lynn. Lynn Roth Images out of Colorado, does amazing work in landscape photography. You ought to check it out. So I did film, even in high school. I took pictures of athletics and music and band and all of that. Even though I was in those things, I would also do the photography for it. So I learned about darkroom procedures. I learned about taking photographs. First camera that I played with was a Pentax K1000.
Yes.
And you remember that camera?
Yeah. Well, actually, you had encouraged me to get one, and I did. And it's still sitting up on a shelf. It doesn't work anymore.
No, probably not.
But there is a place actually in Wichita that repairs cameras. And I've given some thought to sending it down there and realized that the repair would probably be 5 times the cost of the camera, actually.
It's not cheap. It's not cheap. But cameras do wear out. Those cameras do wear out. But in any way, through my high school years, that was kind of, and early in my marriage, I bought my first camera, which was a Canon FTB, 35 millimeter. Did my own darkroom work, obviously, still do that. A lot of black and white. I love black and white. And then reality hit. We started having family, and the expense of doing photography at that time was high. You bought the film, you exposed the film. If you didn't have a darkroom, you had to go to the drugstore and send it off, and they would have it, developed with or without prints. You bring it back. You decide if you want prints or not. Then there's the cost just got astronomical in the world that I was living at that time, and so I had to kind of give it up
Well,
for a
that's
year.
an interesting parallel with golf.
I bet.
Because golf can be an expensive sport, and like horseback, polo, horseback riding, all of those things can be pretty expensive. And like you, I had to lay aside my clubs for about 45 years, and so there's a new learning curve when you pick it up again, right?
Oh my
And
gosh.
getting caught up on the technology and everything. And I'm still getting caught up. I've only been able to play golf reasonably seriously again for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh no, it's a reality. Some people, don't go through that phase, but certainly we did. We got through those years, and my kids were getting into high school, and I was ready to get back into photography. So I still bought another film camera. Digital wasn't out yet, and I took two of my children's graduation photos.
nice.
And then I took graduation photos for some other people. And I did graduation photos in high school with my friends. So that
There
was
you go.
one of those things I did with the school's camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, made a little bit of money off of the public school system there.
Well,
But we won't tell them.
We'll cut that part out.
But that's when digital photography started to show its head. And I bought my first digital camera, which was an Olympus camera, and I introduced it to my brother. We were on a fishing trip, and I brought it along, and I showed it to him. And he had done film cameras just like I did. But at that time, we both okay, this is a new world. And so we both jumped in with both feet for digital photography. And I haven't turned back since. So that's kind of what's got me involved.
I got a question for you. So when the first ones came out, they were like 2 pixels. Then it was 5.
Right,
Then it was
right.
10. Then it was 20. Then it was 50. Do pixels really make that much difference in digital photography?
To a point.
To a point.
I jumped in with a 10 megapixel.
Yep. Okay. I had one of those.
Yeah, I had a 10 megapixel, great camera. Some of the photographs that I've shown and sold were shot with 10 megapixels. And it kind of depends. And just remember that when you go digital, you're now doing computer algorithms versus exposure on a piece of resin, right?
Yeah.
Or a piece of film.
Yeah.
So it's a different world. And you can take those photographs, and using other algorithms, other programs, you can increase resolution, you can increase clarity. So you get you get a whole trove of new tools to deal with that. But at a point, theoretically, the more megapixels, the more resolution. If someone's going to argue with me on this, I know that's fine. And larger prints that you can make, theoretically. But there's lots of other ways to do that.
Yeah. Well, I wondered. Somebody once told me, they said, you get over 20 megapixels is not really going to make a lot of difference, So
Yeah. Well,
so
it depends.
I have no idea.
It depends. They now have 100 megapixel cameras out there.
Holy cow!
I know. I won't have one, but
that would show that should show the pores on your face, shouldn't it?
I can show the pores on your face with 10.
Yeah. Don't you dare! Right?
But no. But if you want something blown up to billboard size, So it's all about how you're going to use those images. If you're going to show them on the internet, it doesn't matter. to be honest with you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So, and what's really interesting, of course, is that we video this,
Right.
and we video it at a 720 resolution. But then when we produce it, it's reproduced at a much higher
Right.
resolution,
Right.
right?
So, and that's all part of that algorithm
Yep.
stuff that I can go this far in explaining, and beyond that, I can't.
Got
It's
it.
magic. It's magic. Okay.
Oh, perfect. I thought it was science, but if you say it's magic,
no, it's
I'm
magic.
going to take it as
Yeah.
that. Okay.
I have a place where I get some t-shirts. I ordered a couple for myself and my brother, but one of the shirts I didn't get was a picture of a camera with explaining all the buttons on it, and it says, well, this is the magic button for this, this is the magic button for that. It just does things that we don't know what they are. So I will tell you, some of the other things that really influenced me were I looked at tons of photography, at photos.
Yeah.
In fact, I still do. Sometimes at night I might go through 50 to 100 photos online, just looking at people's work. So some of the greats that we all know, or maybe we've heard of, Ansel Adams.
I was going to say you've got to be an Ansel Adams fan.
I am a
if you
huge
like black
Ansel
and
Adams
white,
fan.
right?
Mostly black and white. He's done some color. He did some color, but mostly black and white. Mostly not 100%, but a lot of landscape. A current photographer that I just love her work, and she's a portrait photographer, and that's Annie Leibovitz.
Yeah.
Annie Leibovitz has done some famous photos.
Yeah.
But I'll talk a little bit about that kind of photography a little bit later, maybe. I can go down the list. Steve McCurry. You may not know the name, but I bet you know the picture. He took a picture of that Afghan refugee girl.
Yes.
That was on the cover of National Geographic.
Yes.
Yeah. And so he's got a whole series of kind of the diverse, I think it's titled The Diversity of Human Race photos.
And he went back and found her.
He did.
And photographed her in her, 30s or something?
Right. And there was an interview. Yeah. There was a lot of controversy around that.
Yeah.
She was pretty young at the time. But permissions and all of that were part of that whole story.
Right.
Which has led to a lot of changes, I think, that conversation has. Edward, another person that I saw, I looked at a lot of his photographs, was Edward Curtis. And again, someone that you may not know the name, but you probably know the photographs. He documented back in the 30s the Native American, particularly leaders. So a lot of the leader, like the chiefs and the parties, he would photograph them. Another person that was really influential with me did glamour photography in Hollywood, George Hurl.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think of a glamour photo of an actress or an actor back in the 30s and 40s, is his style. And I love that. In fact, that's an area that I think I'm going to probably pick up for my next push, to do some Hollywood glamour shots. And someone that you may know the name, may know the family, in Iowa, Pete Weddick from Mount Pleasant. Pete Weddick, Mount Pleasant, Iowa.
Your hometown.
My hometown. Mm-hmm. He worked for the Farm Security Administration back in it would have been in the 50s, 60s. And so he was traveling throughout southeast Iowa, working with farmers during a really difficult time. But he was a photographer, and so he compiled a whole trove, thousands, over 10,000 photos of farmers and their families back in the 30s and 40s and 50s. And he's got Leslie. I've got the book here. Leslie Lovelace compiled the photographs and put out a book called A Bountiful Harvest. Worth a read. I mean, so these are some of the influences I've had over the years, if that makes sense.
Well, Lamar, I think people are eager to see some of these.
You want to see some?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's and I know that you really like portraiture. And so we're
Yeah.
going to begin, I think, with portraiture, right?
Yeah, let's start with some portraits. So
Okay.
I do have I take portraits in my studio, and sometimes I'll do portraits out in the field where I meet people,
Mhm.
or I'll sometimes I've done portraits in coffee shops and places like that. I just did a portrait in a church last week. Um, but let me share with you my okay. So can you see this portrait, Tom? Make sure we can
Oh,
see it.
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I have seen her in some of your photos.
Yes, you have. Her first name is Cassie.
Mhm.
And I've been working with Cassie. She's a model, a part-time model. Um, and part-time model, stay-at-home mom, just a wonderful person, has a great sense of self and ability to work on an idea. But this picture here is one of my favorites of Cassie. Um, and we had probably when we get together, and she's also very inspiring. I mean, she has a way of just understanding the idea and taking the idea and going with it. And I what I wanted from her was I want you to be looking out of a window and just wishing or thinking about what would it be like to be out there.
Hmm.
And I had a friend offer his studio space that had beautiful windows on the second story, and so we sat by the window and we just did a series of shots. And this would be one of those. I love the lighting
Mhm.
in a photograph like this. I like the focusing. If you'll notice, her right eye is in focus, her left eye is out of focus. Um, and that was intentional. I wanted there to be what's called a very shallow depth of field. Depth of
Mhm.
field means what's in focus, what's out of focus. And a shallow depth of field means only a little bit is in focus.
Mhm.
So her eye, her cheek, her lips, and her eyebrows, all of that's in focus on the right side, but out of focus on her left side, which and the light coming across um, gives me some light on her cheek, but then it turns into shadow. Um, so all of that technique was what I was after in this shot. She gives me the emotion in the
Mhm.
picture.
And
Uh,
this is one of your black and whites, correct?
this is one of my black and whites, right? Um, and obviously I shoot in color. The camera shoots in color, and I convert it to black and white in we call it the digital darkroom, which is now the computer.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's Cassie.
So
Uh,
I noticed in your instruction to her, and I'm guessing that this is one of the ways that we see some of your other training in terms of working with people as a psychologist, as an HR person. I thought your instruction to her on that was really interesting. You know, look out the window and think about what it would be like to be on the outside. I thought, what a simple and elegant instruction there. You could have made it so much more complex, but you didn't. And I see some of your other training coming through in that instruction. Does that make sense?
it does. I hadn't thought about that, but it's probably right. I will tell you, the first time I was working with a model, the first few times I was working with a model, it was like, I do not know what I'm doing here. And fortunately, I went to a workshop and had a well-trained model. Um, and I would stop and say, help me help you. Tell me what I need to do to help you as a model. And she was so experienced that she was really a good part of that workshop herself.
Yeah.
And so it was helpful to me. Cassie, who I said I've been working with for a number of years, she and I have worked together on lots of projects, and I would say, because we work together like this so much, um, uh, she anticipates a lot of what I'm looking for.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing that if they go to your website, they're going to see more of Cassie. in some of your photos.
Yeah.
So,
And we may
yeah.
see more of her as we go here. This
Yeah.
picture here, Tom,
Yeah.
you would have some story in this picture. And I think I briefly told it on one of our podcasts that
Yeah.
this gentleman here, I don't know his name. He gave me permission to take the photo and to use it. And you and I and my wife were in Shepherdstown, West Virginia,
Yeah.
right? And we were eating at a little cafe, and across the street was a small college with a green space under and some beautiful trees. And I saw this man playing his flute. And I grabbed my camera, left you guys at the table. Sorry about that. And
That's okay. We ate the rest of your dinner.
Yeah, across the street. And first, as he was playing, I just motioned to my cameras and asked him if I could take pictures. And he said, yeah. And so, or he nodded his head. So I just started snapping away and getting different perspectives with him. And again, what I was after was I really wanted to focus on his face and the flute coming up to his face. So you'll notice all of that's in sharp focus. His hat, his face, his beard, and that part of the flute. But the focus falls off at about his hands. And focus is a really important way to create a photograph. What do you want people's eyes to go? Not just light, but where do you want people's eyes to go when they look at the composition? And then afterwards we chatted for quite a bit. I told him what I was doing. He loved it. He told me his story a little bit, and that was it. Probably I don't know, maybe a 15-minute interaction that we had. And then I worked on the photo, actually probably months later to get to this.
What can you tell us of his story? What would it be appropriate for you to tell us of his story?
What I can tell you is he was there. He's not from there. He traveled to that college campus. He said people love hearing music just coming from somewhere. And he said, then people will come up to me and they'll ask me to play certain songs. And then people ask him to, he said, what I really enjoy doing is playing like old church music, like old hymns and that kind of thing. People ask me to play. And that's what he was playing as when I was taking this picture. I can't remember the song, but it was a religious song, a church song.
Wow.
And that he had told me that he and his wife had just moved to the area a few years ago, and they got involved in a religious organization, and that he felt kind of part of his ministry.
Interesting.
So that's kind of the story of this gentleman.
Very sweet. Very sweet.
Yeah. But I love his facial expression. And it just, to me, he communicates. What's really important when you take a look at a photograph is what are you capturing? And I told you about what's in focus. But if I was to take a profile picture only, I wouldn't have caught the brow and the eyelashes from the right side of his face. So I needed to position myself so I had a little bit more contour in the photograph, as make sure it just wasn't a flat photograph. That way you get a little more depth.
I have to tell you, the first time I saw this photograph, I had to do a double take because this guy looks so much like a good friend of mine by the name of Frank, who's part of a Quaker meeting. I mean, he almost looks like he's dressed as
Kind of.
some Quakers would dress, in a very kind of plain clothing. And Frank has that beard, same beard. And I go, whoa, is that Frank? I didn't know Frank played the flute. And it wasn't Frank.
Wasn't Frank.
Yeah.
But the guy was one, and I find people, particularly, I find all sorts of people who are really willing to be a model for me. And he in a very short time, he was modeling for me. So
that is really nice.
Speaking of interesting people.
Yes. Okay.
So this is Johnny in Velvet. You've not seen these.
Whoa. Wait a minute. Is he packing there?
He is packing. So,
and he didn't shoot you. That's good.
So my brother and I went to a little town in New Mexico, and we were on a photography trip, and I'm sitting there at this restaurant, or we're sitting at this restaurant. I'm sorry, we're waiting to get into the restaurant, a little tiny place. This couple comes up on a 4-wheeler. Now, if you take a look, yeah, he's got 2 guns on the side, his cowboy hat and all of that.
Yeah.
He's got spurs on his boots.
Oh my
And he's
goodness,
riding
he
a
does. Look at
4-wheeler. And I'm thinking, he ought to be riding a horse. So that caught my attention. But she's on the back of this 4-wheeler. They come up, and I'm looking at them. And I thought, well, this has got to be an interesting story. We go in to sit down and eat, and they go in to sit down and eat. And everybody knows them. Everyone says, hi, Johnny, hi, Velvet. So they've got to be locals, right?
Right.
And I'm looking at my brother goes, you need to go talk to him. I said, well, let me watch. He said, he's got 2 guns. And I know quite a bit about guns, and I knew they were real guns. they were pretend.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, after they finished up about the same time we did, and I stepped outside, and I just went up to him and said, hey, would you have time for a photo? Oh, sure. And I said, I'm also working on a project. I'd love to interview you and learn more about you. And so we did. We went down to a park that was across the street, and he told me their story. They both were chatterboxes. They both wanted to talk about their story. I said, okay, tell me about the guns. They live off the grid in a house that he built, or a cabin that they built. And he goes, we have rattlesnakes, and we have mountain lions, and we have bears. I said, oh. He says, this one is for the mountain lion and bears. That was on the right side. This one over here is for the rattlesnakes, 2 different calibers of guns. And I said, okay. And she got to laughing. And she goes, he also spent a night in jail because he pulled one out and shot in the air when someone was messing with him at a downtown once. And she goes, it's not always a good idea. She had her perspective. Wonderful people, Johnny and Velvet. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about them because by the way, if you look at his hat band, is full of 22 rifle shells.
Interesting. Okay.
So a little bit about them, because people are so interesting. And what I try to do is catch a little bit about who they are. Find out who they are. How can I take a picture that tells the story about who they are? But that's another part of the kind of photography I do, which is a little bit of journalistic, creative journalism kind of thing. It's a project I'm working on. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I don't know if you have any questions about them, but I'm ready to.
So, have they always lived off the grid? Are they?
No.
You're going to tell me they're from like Baltimore and Philadelphia, right? Or something like that.
Other side of the country. They're from California.
From California.
From California. And they were kind of disillusioned with the world of politics and all of that. And they were doing some traveling in a camper, selling some of the things that they made. And they got to New Mexico. They got to this little town. They found 10 acres that they could afford to buy. So they bought the 10 acres and gave up. Well, they didn't own any property, I don't think. But they bought the 10 acres. He built a shed first that they lived in for a year while he was building the house, built the house, and they are totally off the grid. No electric coming in. So they run off of generators and solar. And they've been together for a lot of years. He was so happy. He says, yeah, she finally decided to marry me last year. So he was pretty excited about just their life together and kind of what has drawn them to that place in their life.
What did they say what their lives were like in California before they came out and lived on? I mean, now, we have a lot of people that are disillusioned with politics. So do they have extra room in their cabin? That's the.
So my read on that would be go find your own space.
And if not, remember, he's carrying a couple guns.
That's right. But they were just lovely people. And people, if you're non-threatening, and you're interested. People have stories they want to tell, and
Yeah.
and that's part of what interests me in photography. Is it's all about storytelling.
Yeah. Very nice.
So this is another picture. I don't know if you've seen this. This is also a picture of Cassie, a
Yes.
different kind of a setting where I said, okay, I want you to 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 show me, or to think about contemplating ideas, contemplating difficult things. So, this was a scene that I set up,
Hmm.
and you can tell I use a lot of light. I use a lot of light and darkness to tell the story. I've also could do this in black and white and get a very similar kinds of things, except I like the color, the
Yeah.
tones in this particular
Yeah. It's
picture.
very nice.
Yeah.
I, d-
Um,
you certainly would miss that with the black and white, and this is really nice. I agree with you. I
so
approve.
you approve. Well, Cassie, I would, if you're working, I have 2 or 3 people that I work with that almost give me as much inspiration as I think I can give them in their direction. But that's a picture of Cassie. Here's another picture of Cassie. It's actually in the show that I put up.
Hmm.
Um, and this is a picture of Cassie. After, I mean, we take breaks because we'll work 4 hours straight sometimes.
Oh my goodness.
And this is her during a break. It's like, that picture of the window was taken this day.
Hmm.
Um, but it's most people will say, well, don't take a photograph up someone's nose, right? But if you want to tell a story, you look for those opportunities. And I felt this was telling a story.
Nice.
Um, I, 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 I do want to, let's see here. Do this. There we go. I do want to move us along into some of the other kinds of things that I do. Um, shoot, sorry.
That's
There
that's
we
all right.
go. Um, I also do landscape photography and
Hmm.
features. And Tom, you're familiar with this photograph.
I'm very familiar with that photo.
So this is the big bridge in Burlington, Iowa. And this photograph was taken in December. It was so cold. I had to go to a like a Dick's Sporting Goods store to get long underwear to go take this photo. You'll see along the right side, that's all ice on the Mississippi River. And there's an old bridge that used to be north of this one. And what the city has done is created walkways out to where the pylons were for the old bridge. And so I'm out on a pylon in December in ice cold weather, freezing my toes off. And so I this is a long exposure, meaning that I open up the shutter and let the light come in for a period of time that's longer than most. So this was probably 30 to 60 seconds that I had the shutter open, which makes the water smoother. And
Mm.
also I had the lens of my camera, I had it turned to a setting to, if you notice around the lights, that they have star-like uh, refractions. And that was all intentional to try to get that look. So there we are.
So
Yeah.
so I've got to ask: is this the same shot that we have hanging on our wall,
I'm
or
not
is it?
sure because I
Yeah,
have two versions of this shot.
that's what I thought. The
And
the thing that I just noticed, Lamar, and I got to go. I'll have to go upstairs and take a look. Is on over there in Gulfport, Illinois. And by the way,
mm,
those of you that know the area, Burlington's on one side, and on the other side is Gulfport,
Gulfport,
Illinois.
right?
Uh, there's like this glow in the sky.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I don't know what that's about. Maybe that was the aliens coming into Gulfport. I don't know, but
So I can tell you what that's about.
what is that?
So there was a fog coming in. There's a low clouds, and if you look at the lights over the bridge, you'll see the fog lights
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
reflected it. So
Yeah.
light reflects off of moisture. just like it reflects off of water on the river, it'll reflect off of water in the air, which is a cloud, right? Cloud has that moisture. So that reflection in the sky over Gulfport are the lights of the city reflecting off of the low hanging clouds.
Yeah. And we love this photo. And we have this hanging in our dining room area, where we most often will entertain people. And we always get comments.
Yeah.
And I tell people, don't touch it.
And
Look,
you have it
but don't touch.
presented on metal. It's on metal.
Yes,
yeah.
It's incredible. It's just absolutely incredible.
So when I envisioned this photograph, and I was with my brother, he was taking pictures at the same time, I knew that they were going to be taking these lights off of the bridge. And so the story is about a month after this or so, they removed not the blue and the red lights, because those are for the barges going up and down the river, but they removed the other lights because they were old and they were replacing them.
Which lights are those?
So the white lights,
they replaced those.
They replaced all those because they couldn't maintain them any longer. And so they replaced those lights, but it took them a long time because there was a financial fundraising kind of thing that went on.
Yeah.
So about, I don't know if it was a couple of years later when the project finally was completed, I got a call and someone had seen this photograph and they asked if I would be willing to auction this photograph off or have it auctioned off at a fundraiser for the new lights. And that if we could do that in the restaurant above the hospital, which is overlooking
the old hospital.
The old hospital.
Yes.
and be there for the turning the lights on for the first time on the bridge.
Yeah. Wow.
And so it was really cool. They auctioned off this photo. And right after they auctioned it off, we all went to the windows. They turned the lights on to the new bridge, or the new lights to the bridge, and fireworks. I mean, it's just a really cool kind of a thing. So
yeah,
this photo has kind of an interesting history.
And that was live from Martini's Grill.
Martini's Grill, yes,
at the top of what was formerly Mercy Hospital in Burlington, and if anybody wants to decide to actually go into Iowa as opposed to flying over Iowa, we really encourage you to stop, take a look at this bridge itself. It's a beautiful bridge, and enjoy the view overlooking the Mississippi from Martini's Grill. It's we should probably write them to see if they want to sponsor this episode. Do you suppose?
There we go.
Yeah. I actually, for her birthday every year, I get one of my sisters a gift certificate to Martini's Grill. She loves it.
There you go.
So,
yeah. So, but that's this is the story behind the picture, and part of why I took it. Actually, we went up to Moline. And we worked our way down that whole day taking photographs and ended up in Burlington, which was our plan, to photograph this at night. So It was kind of a fun day.
Very cool.
So this is another photograph you should recognize. Again, it's in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. As we were just strolling through the town, I saw this church, Episcopal church in Shepherdstown, and the door just with the stone steps and the stone architecture and the architecture of the door and the color just drew me in. And I think you and my wife were out talking on the street the whole time, but I was in taking pictures of this thing. It was just gorgeous.
Actually, as I remember, we were trying to figure out how they did something up in this steeple of the church.
Sure.
And we were walking around, standing there, looking up, trying to figure out, well, how did they get that up there, and how did they do that? And it was like, so yeah.
I was just taken by this. I mean, I couldn't probably think of anything else till I got the photo. But what that church, the architecture, the texture of the stone versus the texture of the door, those are the things that kind of drew me in, as well as the color. but there's also some pieces of this that I really love. I love the leaves that are scattered around the steps. I didn't do any of that. I mean, that was all there. I mean, sometimes I've been known to mess with the look a little bit, but that didn't happen here.
Yeah. Well, Lamar, we're kind of butting up against our time limit here.
Oh, okay.
We probably should begin to wrap.
Okay.
But we also should probably do this again in the near future.
Oh, well, good.
This has really been fun and very interesting. What do you want to wrap up on this one?
Okay, so I think what I would like to wrap up on is I'm going to stop sharing here. I think there's a lot of things about photography that people think about or ask questions about. One is you must have a really good camera to take really good pictures like that. It's not the camera. The camera has something to do with it. It's really the people who are taking the pictures. They have a thought. They have an idea, and that's what makes when I do portraitures. I'm not just taking pictures of people. I'm doing what's called fine art photography. Fine art means I have an idea that I'm wanting to capture. Even when I take a picture of that door, when you walk up to the door, it didn't look like that. The light didn't look like that. I manipulated a lot of that, and that's part of the fine art pieces. I create what I felt and what I saw, but it might not be what you feel and what you see. A camera is a tool that just records. The photographer then can either document something by just taking a picture of it and saying, "This is what I saw," or what the camera saw when I hit the shutter, or the fine art photographer can say, "I'm going to take that picture and I'm going to create what I saw and what I felt, and create an emotion, a story, or whatever." Two very different ways of kind of understanding what photography is about, and they're not the same.
You know, I don't know that I've ever heard fine art photography described, first of all. And secondly, I think that your description is really interesting and how you define fine art photography. And that makes a lot of sense. That it's beyond simply snapping the picture, but it's really trying to capture something, an emotion, a feeling, an experience, perhaps, that says more than just, oh, that's a really great picture.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
It should be telling a story of some sort.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is really nice.
Well, thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk a little bit and show some of my stuff.
Well, Lamar, we need to do this again. I mean, I enjoy your photos because you'll send me a file
Yeah.
every now and then to take a look at,
Yeah.
or I'll you've even asked my opinion as somebody
Yeah.
who has really pretty much not a good sense of the artistic. You humor me by asking my opinion of things.
No, you have a good perspective, Tom.
But I think I hope people will go to your website and see what's there.
Yeah, rothimages.com, and you'll see some of these pictures. You can take a longer look at them.
I mean, I think there is so much more to talk about here. I think there is, I want to talk to you about landscape photography. I want to talk with you about what is your favorite type of photography to do and your least favorite type of photography.
Yeah, we could have a conversation with that. Let me tell you.
Yeah. So it's yeah. I think I kind of know, but I think the what I have observed in you over the last 50 some years or beyond that I've known you is that this has really been something that you have always held close to you. And it's been in the recent years as your kids have gotten older and you've been able to have a little extra money to invest in doing some of this stuff that has really come alive for you. And the work that you've been producing has just been among some of the best I've ever seen. And I'm not
Thank
saying
you.
that because I like you. I'm saying that because I think it's true. And I think if people will go to your website and take a look, they're going to be quite pleased with what they see. You had up there that field of sunflowers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's another one worth talking about in the near future. Yeah. This has really been great, Lamar. I really appreciate it. And
thank you for asking, Tom. I appreciate it too.
We were just kind of kicking it around a couple of weeks ago. We said, well, what are we going to do on the 4th of July? And it's like, well, we kind of did that back in June, and we kind of grumbled and groused about the 250th anniversary.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, right. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something that'll make people smile and feel good. And so I think this was just the right combination.
Well, I appreciate it. It's been fun. And we can talk about it again. It's a big topic.
Yes, it is. So one last question for you before we go. What would you most like to photograph in the next year, in the coming year?
So I think the picture of Johnny in velvet.
Yes.
This coming year, I would most like to photograph people that I meet. People with the travels that Carla and I have, and the people that I interact with. I really would like to do more photography of people that in their environment, in their space. I call them headshots, but I did some work with a gentleman who's a pastor of a church in his church building.
Mm-hmm.
I found that really inspiring.
Oh, nice.
What can I take with this environment to make it more about him?
Yeah.
So I love that stuff.
Yeah. Well, that just gave me an idea. Yeah. Part of which may just, scare the bejesus out of you. I think the next time you're here, what you do is you come with me to our golf league and you photograph the golfers.
Oh, I'd love that, actually.
Yeah, just kind of ride in a cart and, go out there and just shoot photos. When it gets to be 105, I mean, for example, on Monday or Tuesday, we played. One of our golfers is 96, about 97 years old.
What a story he might have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, and there's a lot, I play with one guy that's a former FBI agent.
Mm-hmm.
I play with other people that have been engineers. I love talking with these guys when we play because I hear their stories. Because what are you going to do between shots?
So that would not be the first time I've done something similar.
Good.
Not with golf, but I will tell you one quick story here. We got a couple of minutes. One quick story would be my son, who's an avid hunter, asked me if I would photograph their goose hunt. I said, "Oh, okay." So I'm going. We get up at 5:30 in the morning, right? And it's cold. It's in the winter, and we go out to the field. And Dad, the geese are going to be coming in from here. They come and land. We do our hunt, and we're laying down in these mummy kinds of things of camouflage, and then we all kind of pop up and we do what we do, and the dogs go out and get the birds and all that kind of stuff. I go, oh, okay. So I've never been on a hunt like this before, Tom. So I'm in there with my camera. We all pop up. The guns are blaring. The dogs are going out, and I'm saying, okay, well, I take this first group here, and I'll just kind of get figured out how to do this, And then dog brings the geese back in, and I look at Nick and said, "Okay, I think I've got it all figured out now." He goes, "Oh, Dad, we're done. It's over. It's time for breakfast." It's like, what? Yeah, we got our limit, so we're going in for breakfast. Okay.
So did any come out?
I have a couple of good shots, but other than that, it was like learning how to focus, learning where the animals were coming in, learning how to, I missed a lot of things I would have planning on taking.
Gosh. Well,
yeah. Anyway,
photography and golf, once again, there are hits and misses.
That was pretty much a miss. Yep.
Well, that's a
All
great
right.
story, Lamar. Hey, good to see you. Thank you for sharing your art with us. This is just absolutely terrific. I hope a lot of people hop over to YouTube
Yeah,
and take a
I
look
hope
at the
so.
images and then get over to your website and take a look at even more. So
Well, thanks
let's
for
do it
giving me the
again.
opportunity.
We need to do it again.
All right.
Take care, Lamar.
You too. Bye-bye.
Tom here. Thank you for listening to Getting to Third Space with Lamar and Tom. Remember to click on subscribe to get notices about new episodes, and be sure to like and share the podcast as well. Opinions and ideas expressed in this podcast are solely those of Lamar Roth and Tom Klaus, and we'd like to hear your opinions and ideas too. You can leave us a voice message on Spotify, or you can email us at the addresses found in the show notes. Also, in the show notes, you can find links to some of the things we talked about today, so you can check them out yourself. Until next time, keep moving forward toward third space.
This podcast was reviewed and approved by Jake and Ebby Dogs Incorporated.